Welcome to Physics Can Be Fun. Today I'd like to talk about how physics should also be useful. So it's fun and it's useful. And physics doesn't just take place in a laboratory or a classroom. Physics takes place wherever there is a need. Now I had a need. I was wanting to dig a well or a borehole type of thing in my backyard. And the difficulty was to dig this hole. So obviously the first thing I did was look on the internet for tools to dig wells, and there are many techniques. Didn't quite find anything that I felt suited digging a nice deep well. So I started digging with this implement, which is basically a trenching tool or a mattock, and I could dig down into the ground with this, down to the well, and then to try and get the sand out, I would turn this mattock at 90 degrees, and then I would try and scoop the sand out. So it was quite difficult, and you could only get a little bit of sand out using this particular type of tool. So I would dig with it, and then bend it at right angles, and then try and scoop the sand out. So it was difficult getting the sand out. So I thought, let's try and see if we can invent some sort of tool where we can drop it down into the well, get it to take a nice bite of sand, and then bring the sand up. So there's all kinds of scientific principles involved. So here was my prototype drawing. I thought I'd get some square tubing, cut it at 45 degrees, give it a little bit of a look like this, square tubing, hinge the two pieces of square tubing together, and then it would come and take a bite out of the sand. And here was a piece of angle iron that I would use to pull the sand out. Anyway, here is how it eventually turned out. What you will see is I used eventually some round bar. Well, actually just some old pipe that I had. And so this, we drop into the well like this, and then it takes a bite out of the sand, and then we pull the sand up. So what I started with was this piece of pipe. It's quite heavy iron pipe that I had lying around. You can see it's fairly thick. And so I just cut 45-degree angle, and then you only have one 45-degree cut and two equal lengths. Then I put a piece of elastic inside, one of these type of elastics inside, to make it so it'll snap closed. So there's a piece of elastic inside here that pulls it closed. And then I wanted something like a bit of a bear trap. So I use this here. See it? It's just a piece of brick force that holds walls together, just a piece of iron. It goes like this, and it keeps this from springing open. So here is what looks like a little trigger, and if I push this trigger up, it snaps closed, and it actually caught my finger. So and watch again, I snap it closed, and now that's like the little trap. And the moment you push that, this snaps closed and it grabs the sand. So I lower this down the well. When it hits the bottom pushes on this here, and then the snaps closed, takes a nice bite of sand, and then I pull it back up out of the well. So science must be practical. Obviously, if I could borrow somebody's vacuum cleaner and lower it down the well and get it to hoover up all the sand at the bottom, that'd be fantastic too. But I don't think the vacuum cleaner is going to last very long. Whereas this you could probably use in any place, like you have soft sandy soil, which is what I've got in my garden. The first few strata or layers were rock and stones, but once I got through that, it's just pure, almost like beach sand underneath that, and now I'm able to dig, and I will go into the back garden and show you how this little tool works in reality. Just one last thing on the trigger. It's quite hard to see, but if you look inside here, inside there is a little thing at right angles with a hole in it. So it's just a little piece of square of right angled iron bar with a hole in it. And I welded that to the side so this can slide in and out, slide up and down. So that's just to guide this. And then once it's in, once I slide that down, and there were two guides, then I have my little piece of iron that is holding these two ends together, and it serves as a trigger. So you don't want your trigger to wobble around. So the two little pieces of angle were just there with holes in them to guide the trigger so that it just moves up and down, and when it hits the ground, then the snap's closed. So now we're going to go out into the garden and actually do a bit of well digging. Well, here I am in my backyard digging my well. Here is the Dig-O-Matic, and I'm about to drop it down the well. So we drop it, and we pull it up. Right, so here you see it, and there's the sand out. Then I reset it, and I'm ready to drop it again. Pull it up. I'm going to put it into this bucket, reset it, drop it down the well, pull it up, reset it, pull it up, and in about 10 minutes I have filled this bucket completely full. So here is the digging tool, and here's its trigger. There's the elastic band to pull it closed. There's the bottom of the trigger that triggers it.